Hello, welcome. Hope everyone's well. Been very hot. Today we're going to go do our Wednesday workshop again with Kennington Osteopaths. I'm Jake Allsop. Going to focus on upper back stiffness and sort of thoracic spine ache. Okay. A lot of people have been starting to get that sort of stiff upper back, especially during lockdown, just by being stuck at home all the time. So I'm going to go through a bit of a routine. You can do it at the same time, or just have a look and then maybe copy it later. I'm going to go through a routine and just basically mobilising that upper back, and then activating it a little bit as well, to try to get some blood going through the muscles. I personally really like using a foam roller for the back, for the upper back. I feel it helps a lot. So if you haven't got a foam roller, then look into getting one. They are really useful when doing mobility things. But otherwise, there's some exercises here that we're not using foam rollers for anyway, so you can give them a crack too. So with the upper back, there's a lot of muscles in there that can get fatigued just from sitting down too long, getting tight chests and rounded upper back. There's no research that directly links like a kyphosis, that rounding of the back, to pain. However, there is a link between like that upper back roundness and a head forward posture and other issues like depression and mental health issues. Essentially just coming from being stuck on a desk all day usually, and not being active enough. So we're going to go through like maybe three main things: a little warm up, a foam roller routine, and then like a little activation you can do just to get a bit of circulation going through the upper back as well. If you like, you could copy and paste this whole thing and just do it every now and then, or just take a few of your favourite things and just do them daily. Whichever ones you find help you the most. Some of them might not do much. Some of them might be really effective. So just do it as you like. What we're going to do to start is just basically start to get moving. Going to start getting the thoracic spine rotating a bit. And ideally you do this flat against the wall. I'm going to kind of do it against this surface here, so I'm going to pretend I'm against the wall. And we're going to come into this kneeling position, okay? So the leg that's up is against the wall. And just in this sort of one-legged position, alright? I'm going to be against this skeleton here, but you would be flat against the wall with this arm. You're just going to open out as far as you can, okay? And the aim is to keep this hand here flat against the wall, the whole arm and the shoulder, then come around and get this active arm also against the wall, okay? I want you to be really active in this position. So don't just carelessly open and close. Really try to bring your shoulders down and back and really squeeze against the wall. You'll find it's actually quite hard to get all the way and get every part of your back touching the wall. Okay? I used to do this for about a rep of it, about 10 reps. Then once you've done 10 on one side, just do the other side. And again, I'm not against the wall, but ideally you will be. In and out. Breathe in and out. Okay? The idea of this is to start to warm up your back. Your shoulders might start to get a little burn in them. That's fine. But really try to engage the back. Don't just flap your arms around. Really engage the back. And if you take this exercise to the next level, really try to think about everything you're doing. So squeeze the bum. Embrace the sort of trunk musculature. Open everything up. In this position, you might want to try to open your chest up a bit more. And once you've done about 10 of those on each side. You might want to repeat that as well. We're going to do a very similar exercise, but kneeling. So, on all fours, you're going to put your hands behind your head and your elbows down. And just rotate through. Okay, and side on. And open up towards the ceiling. You do both sides. When you're coming up, you kind of want to use your lower elbow to drive as well. So if I show you from this angle, I'm going to keep my left elbow on the floor. I'm driving up. I'm going to use this arm to kind of push out that way as well. And it's going to help drive my chest through and out away from me. And breathe out. So you try to really focus that twist going through the top of the back. So going this way, now my right elbow is going to be driving out, like I'm trying to slide the floor away, okay? Like I'm trying to slide this mat away. And always using your breathing as well to control that movement. Similar rep scheme to the first one. I'm just going to keep moving. You might want to do 10 on your side. You might want to repeat it. If you feel like you've had a good relief just from doing it once on each side, then just do it once on each side. Listen to your body. And now, I've already shown this before with the lower back workshop. But we're just going to do the same thing for the upper back. Cat-cow, and using a band if you have one. Get the band and pop it around the back of your shoulders, so your upper back. Might be useful to put it underneath your armpits like I am. So I think you can, I've not worn the best t-shirt today, but you can see it across my shoulder blades. This time, instead of putting it under your knees, you are going to leave it in your hands. And you're just doing that cat-cow again. So, unlike last week, we really focused on getting the pelvis moving. So last week we're doing a lot of this moving with the pelvis. This week, we're really thinking about the shoulder blades gliding in and out. So, on the way up, you want to get the upper back as close to the ceiling as you can. You might want to round your neck slightly. And on the way down, pinch your shoulder blades together and drive your chest down towards the floor. What you may find useful with this is with your hands, as you're going down towards the floor, try to bring your knees and your hands together. So I'm going to drive down with my hands. They're not going to move though. I'm keeping my arms straight, keeping my back engaged. But I'm going to drive down towards my knees with my hands, whilst pushing my chest down towards the floor, okay? Breathing out. That's going to be able to put a lot more of an extension through your spine, alright? I'm going to go both ways. So up, really push the floor away. And down. Breathing in, feeling the back ribs expand. And then breathing out, driving towards your knees with your hands. Pinching the shoulder blades. And if you want, you can then reverse that breath. So breathing out on the way up and breathing in on the way down. It's just going to change dynamics of how the ribs are moving. But again, I prefer this with the support of a band just to make the stretch a little bit more intense. Okay. And again, you're just going to do this. You can either do it for reps or for time. If you do it for time, if you do it for reps, just do 10. If you're doing it for time, then you can do sort of Tabata style thing where you're doing 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. It doesn't matter as long as you're doing something and moving. I don't want to complicate it too much for you. So that's a sort of warm up. Standing rotations, kneeling rotations, and then the cat-cow, okay? And then I'm going to go into the foam roller work, okay? Like I said at the start, if you haven't got a foam roller, it's really useful for doing mobility and helping aches and pains. Mine's this big, it's hollow. It's a little bit knobbly, but it's not too tough, it's quite soft. You can get smooth ones as well. First one I'm going to start with is, well actually, we're not actually going to be lying on it, we're just doing these extension works. Now you can use like a pole as well if you want for this. Like I've got a pole here, or you could use maybe like a broomstick, a mop pole. But I'll just use the foam roller because we're going to be using it for all the exercises. Now, you want to be able to get a surface. I'm using my bed. It's probably going to be better if you use like a chair or a coffee table, just because it's harder. But I'm going to go into a kneeling position. I'm going to drive into extension again. So holding it like this. Elbow, knees shoulder width apart, elbows on the surface. I'm just driving through. Similar to the cat-cow, we're driving our chest down to the floor and increasing the extension through the spine. You can also do this with straight arms as well. Opening the knees slightly. Hands are about this far apart, okay, just wider than shoulder width. Use your breath and getting through, okay. You might feel this through the shoulders or through the lats as well. I personally like to do slow, dynamic movements, so in and out, and then you can just hold it for a count of like 20 seconds as well. So once we've done that, I'm going to get the foam roller and go into child's pose roll out. So on all fours, hands on the foam roller. And we're just rolling out. So it's similar to what we've just done, but it's a bit more dynamic. You're going to keep this one quite fluid. And then again, feel free to do it for a count of 10 to 15 or 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. So by now you should be really moving a lot easier. We're going to try to put some more focused articulation for the vertebrae themselves and give a little bit of a fascia release to the muscles and the fascia around the area. So we're going to flip on our back and just do some extensions and rolls with the foam roller. So popping it under the upper back. Firstly, pop one leg over the other, just kind of locks in the pelvis. I'm just going to do some extensions, okay? I'm really forcing it yourself, so squeeze in your shoulder blades, pull them back. Swap the legs over if you need to. Play with your head position too. And then go into the rolling. Using your heels, driving your heels into the ground, and using the hamstrings to pull yourself down. Okay, my bum's off the floor here. I'm just rolling up and down. Notice my hands are moving whilst I'm doing this movement. Really relaxing into the position, okay? You can do that flat on your back. You can also do it slightly onto one side. Get more of a lats as well. Now, I'm kind of racing through all the movements, but even after doing this, I already feel quite a change in my back. So if you were to sit down and do these for the proper amount of time, you're really going to feel an effect. It may only be short-lived. Sometimes that's the case with these mobility exercises, because to get true change, you're going to have to start training and training and lifting in a different way, actually activating the muscles. But that's what we'll move on to next. Do a little bit of activation to try to make these changes a little bit more long lasting, okay? So, we're going to do two main things. Firstly, Supermans. These are simple. Just going to line your belly. Hopefully you can see me. Your hands are out in front of you. They don't need to be together. They can be apart. Your bum's squeezed, your heels are squeezed, and you're going to lift up your thighs and lift up your chest from the floor. Okay? I'll show you from this way as well. Okay? Again, you can either do this as a rep scheme, so doing 15 to 20, or holding it for 20 seconds. It's a lot harder for holding on this one. It will get your lower back quite a bit. Try to squeeze your shoulder blades as much as you can to get that effect for the upper back. So really thinking about getting your chest and your hands off the floor. Okay. And then essentially what we're going to do is like YTWs. So we're going to do these movements, I'll show you sitting up but on our belly. So firstly, just this. Then this, squeezing the shoulder blades. And this sort of movement. And then like a snow angel, okay? But all whilst lying on our belly. So Y. And T, sorry about my bed. And W's is up here. This is going to focus more on your shoulders, however, the shoulder musculature is really influential on the back and vice versa, so it's good to start to focus, it's good to work on both those aspects. You can't, your back, nothing in your body works as one thing by itself. There's always various elements working together. So they can get quite tiring quite quickly. So maybe do 20 seconds in one movement, 20 seconds in the other movement. So that's Supermans, the Ys, the Ts, and the Ws. And you might start feeling that burn in the middle of the back. If it starts getting sore, then just reduce what you're doing, okay? I'm still happy for you to do it. Just do a lot less of each one. Once you've done these activations, just quickly go back and do the foam roller again. Okay, and then also do the cat-cow with or without the band, okay? I find it's really nice just to go over those two exercises once you've done the activations. And if you had, so you might want to do the whole thing like I said, go through the whole warm-up and foam roller routine followed by the activations. Or you just pick your three of your favourites to do. So it might be just doing some of the kneeling rotations, followed by a cat-cow, followed by just the rolling on the foam roller, and doing it for a bit longer if that works for you. Another thing, you just replicate it on your chair. So if it's more of a working day, and you don't want to get on the floor and get your clothes all wrinkled, then you just replicate maybe the cat-cow and replicate the rotations whilst on your chair. And that's really simple. That's just again, driving your chest out and rolling your shoulders forward. Like we're on our all fours, we're trying to increase extension coming through, okay, so that chest going to the floor. So all you need to do is either use your arm rests or hands on your knees. You're going to push down into your knees whilst you drive the chest forward. And then roll out, okay? A little squeeze at the end of each position's nice, but try to keep it dynamic. Don't just sit there for 10 seconds. Alright. And again, it's important, I think it's really important to hold onto those knees, drive that chest forward and up, okay? And change directions with where you're going. Up, straight your head down. Alright, I kind of rushed that there. Remember to keep that full round position. And then once you've done that aspect of it, you might want to just go into some rotations. Again, you can replicate the one we did on the wall if you want, just by doing this. But I quite like just doing some stronger rotations as well, either using the armrest or off the back of the chair as well. If you're suffering with sort of, back pain that's stopping you from doing stuff, you don't want to jump into the big global movements, okay? Keep to the warm-up that I showed you at the beginning of the video, and just do that more controlled and carefully. And then build up into the stronger foam rolling stuff and the activations. Find out your body tolerance first and what you can and can't do. One final note with this, you can take all the exercises I gave you and essentially play with the breathing of it all. Remember, we have the rib cage surrounding everything here. So if you're getting backache through the thoracic spine, you have all these ribs coming off and big strong muscles connecting to the ribs and in between the ribs, okay? So doing these movements really slowly and just playing with the breathing pattern can also be really effective. If you're doing rotations, either against the wall like this, just really squeezing against the wall and playing with expanding your belly and squashing your ribs against the wall, and just doing everything really slowly like that. There's plenty of other stuff that one can do to help relieve pain or ache or stiffness from the upper back, but it's very individual. Give everything a shot here. Doing this regularly should get you some relief. If it's not, or if you have a very specific pain, then get in touch and we'll figure out where it might be influenced from. A good example, and quite often, is just pecs being tight. So it's always a good idea to give your chest a stretch, against the wall. Just putting your hand there and stretching your chest out. But it might be related to neck mechanics, lower back, more about diaphragm, so that's more about breathing. So if you're finding that these exercises aren't quite getting rid of it all, then get in touch and we can try to figure out exactly what's causing it and then get something more specific for you. But I'm pretty confident that this routine will help a little bit, if not sort you out. Okay, so that's it for today. Again, I'll give you a second to comment on any questions if you need. Otherwise, that's everything. You can do this every day. It's also a nice warm-up as well for working out. I'll be back next week at the same time, and I think I'll be doing shoulder. Yeah, I'll be doing shoulder pain next week. So essentially, that sort of painful arc is what I'll be looking at. So taking the arm through, if you're getting pain, by taking the shoulder through that flexion motion, okay? I'll go through some basic exercises to help with that, and that's very much linked with the thoracic spine too. Alright, so give that a shot and then let us know how it gets on. Tell us if it's useful and tell us if you need some more help. Have a good evening.